Corey. Ready, ready, ready. Fantastic. Great, 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 great. Fantastic. So, all right. So let's get started right now. I'll be sharing my screen right away. Thank you, Kim. I can see that already. All right. So I'm sharing my screen right about now. So let me just go here. Also, by the time you can see my screen, please let me know if you can see my screen by the time I get started. All right, I'm trying to maneuver my screen. Okay, okay, okay. Please, if you can see my screen, I'm still trying to. If you can see my screen, let me know. Can you see the screen already? Seen, fantastic, and seen. Fantastic, that's good, that's good. So let's get started. We have limited time already to get started. What are we learning today? So my name is Peace Bamidele. Once again, I'm the principal consultant, Maquilos Consulting, and also the principal of the Soft Skills Academy. One of the things we do is to train, but that's not the only thing we do. We also work with companies and schools to set up policies and structures and systems that work. But training is a core aspect of what we do. And so public speaking is one of the trainings we want to focus on today. Public speaking. So I'll go straight into what we want to look at today, and then we'll progress into the training. All right, so learning points. What are some of the things? I'll first of all introduce you to public speaking. Introduce you to the concept of public speaking. Please take your points, take your questions down. What is public speaking? I'm going to tell you what public speaking is about, why we need to learn public speaking. Then we'll move on to the basics of effective communication. We're going to look at the fact that public speaking is a form of communication. And we'll now look at all the different intricacies behind effective communication. What makes you an effective communicator? And then we'll look at the ethics of public speaking. There are ethics to public speaking that must not be jeopardized. That must not be, you must not do these things when you're being a public speaker. We're going to look at that. And then next, we're going to look at confidence, positivity, and assertiveness. That's one topic I'm very interested in. I'm going to take a bit of time there looking at confidence, positivity, and assertiveness in public speaking. And then next, we're going to look at audience analysis, a very important aspect of public speaking as you prepare. Now, my own journey is to take you from the entire process of preparing for a speech to the very first few words you say in your speech. Then after that, we'll now have Pastor Mr. Dami Ogutunde take us through the entire process of delivering your speech and closing your speech. Okay? So speech, there are different speeches that you get to make all through your life, ranging from the simple ones to the complex ones. But all of these things, hopefully, all the things we say will fit into it, and you get to learn a number of things. And then lastly, we'll look at persuasive skills. We'll look at some quick tips, and then how to open your speech, how to start your speech, some interesting tips. And I'm sure we all viewed the video. I mean, we shared a video, two videos actually, of two presidents, President of Ghana and President Obama of the US, for us to watch, because we're going to make references to those speeches. And those are sample speeches. Now, those are not the only kinds of speech you get to make. A speech is something you make in front of people generally, and you express yourself, communicate, and express your ideas. Okay. So these are some of the things I will be talking about in the next 1 hour, 15 minutes thereabout. So please do stay with me, take your points, and we're in for a ride. Please, I need your support and cooperation. Don't drop in between. Even though it's a paid training, I know, but I still want to say this. Be actively involved. So many things will be coming at you, like I've said. Grab your notes and pen, and we're in for a ride. All right, so just a quick one. All right. Now, let's get started now. Introduction. Now, why is public speaking important? we have put together this training. Why have we decided to include public speaking at our Soft Skills Academy? Why do we need to learn public speaking? Public speaking is very important. We all know, and I'm sure you already have your own reasons for attending this class. But I want to take us through some of the reasons why public speaking is important. Later on, you get to see a definition of public speaking. But why are we having this class this morning? Why do we have about 25 people that have registered for this class? Now, public speaking is important for a number of reasons. First of all, it's important for you to learn public speaking so you can learn how to win over crowds. I mean, all through life, you're going to have to lead or work with people or talk to people or address people. You have a perspective or opinion you want to share. You want to win over a crowd. You want to win them. You want to get their buy-in. Also, very important to motivate people. I mean, for example, if you're a leader or you're a leader in a company or a school, you have at this time, particularly at this time, there's a pandemic, people, their motivation is at an all-time low. People are sad, people are unhappy and all of that. As a leader, one of your roles is to be able to motivate people. If you're an employer of labor, set people in the right direction. So how you do that is through public speaking. You also need public speaking to be able to inspire people to action. You have a course of action. You have something you're getting them to do. How do you inspire people? That's why public speaking is important. You need public speaking to also persuade people. And we're also related to winning over a crowd. You want to persuade people about something. You want to convince them about a right course of action. Persuasive skills. And then you need public speaking to entertain people. And you see, if you go to a wedding, for example, all those people that anchor events, all those event MCs, they're entertainers, but they're also public speakers. So you need, if you want to entertain people, you need public speaking. And then you need public speaking to inform people. This is the primary purpose of public speaking. You have something you want to communicate. You have something you want to express, an idea you want to pass across. This is something that you are going to be doing all through your life. You also need public speaking to influence the world around you. If you're on social media, you're active on social media like I am, I mean, you get to post things, videos of yourself, saying some things about something you want to sell, a product you're offering, something you want to deliver value, and whatever it is, you want to influence people. That's another purpose of public speaking. Also, public speaking helps you to develop leadership skills. I also referred to that earlier on. And then lastly, it helps you to become a thought leader. If you have an idea, you have something you want to push to the world, a message you want the world to hear, and you want to constantly churn out that message, you want to become a thought leader. A thought leader is somebody who's an expert in a field, in an industry. So, and the more confident you are as a public speaker, the more effective you are as a public speaker, the better of a thought leader you will become. So look at all these reasons now. Can you see that all of these things are things you are going to get to do all through life, either one of them or two or three or four. So you can see that public speaking is very critical. Like my partner always says, public speaking is the going skill. If you stand before an audience and you are delivering, you are churning out value, you are talking, and people can almost believe you even before you say anything because they just like your charisma, your razzmatazz, your delivery. And that's why we have to look at the ethics of public speaking, because some people are so solid and so eloquent in their speech. Meanwhile, they have wrong values. And so as they are communicating and churning out value, they are saying all those things. People are already driven. But they are saying the wrong thing. But because they are saying it very well, people are immersed and people are enjoying them. That's why you must not abuse your power as a public speaker. That's why we'll look at that when we get to the ethics of public speaking. Let's move on now. What are some of the phobias or fears? We want to quickly, the cows in the room. We want to quickly slaughter some cows in the room. These are some of the fears that people have. Please identify yourself in some of these fears. Some people say, I goofed in school and everyone laughed at me. That's why I don't want to be a public speaker. Is that an example of, is this something that happened to you maybe back in school? You had a presentation and people were afraid and you delivered poorly. And what happened? People started laughing at you. And from that time, you just said, look, I'm not going to speak again. I'm not going to do anything public speaking again. It's a phobia, it's a fear. Another fear is that I'm a naturally shy person. And this is a major fear of many people in public speaking. It's a fear, it's a phobia. But we're going to demystify this today. Shyness, all of those things. That's a fear. And I will tell you a personal story about how I overcame the fear later on. Now, some people say I'm always nervous I'm always nervous. It's okay to be nervous, but it's a fear. I'm always nervous. Phobia is also a phobia, is also a fear. Also, I hate it. Some people just say I hate it. I plain hate it. I don't want to be public. I just don't like standing in front of people. It's a phobia, is a fear. Public speaking is something you have to. And if you have to do it, you have to like it. You have to love it. I have been told that I can never speak publicly. This is some people say this also. People have told them, you're a terrible public speaker. I see how poorly you did. And from there, they have this mindset and opinion that, I can't deliver poorly. Okay, I have somebody here. Please, I can't log in. Kept saying password incorrect. Omolola Odu is saying something like that. Let's try and attend to her. Kept saying password incorrect. I will attend to her shortly. All right, let me just go on. I've been told I can never speak publicly. All right, so those are the fears. Let's look at some fallacies. So all those fears and phobias, they are unfounded when it comes to public speaking. So all those things I previously listed, they are not a reason for, they are phobias and fears. Also, we want to quickly look at some fallacies. These are fallacies. You've heard different things at different points in time in your life about public speaking. This is how it should be. This is what you should do. We want to debunk all of these things today. Number one, you have to learn your speech by heart, or you have to read out a script. People tell you this. This is a fallacy. That you have to learn your speech. You have to memorize it. You have to, the more you can memorize it and speak from your head, the brilliant, you have to read from the script. All of those things are fallacies. We look at how things should be later on. Also, you must rehearse in front of a mirror. Some people always tell you, you have to, public speaking, try standing in front of a mirror. If that works for you, fine, but it is not a must. That's one thing we want to say. If that works for you, but it is not a must. You must stand before a mirror before you speak. And also, some people say you have to use plenty slides. Your slides, you have to use a lot of slides. If you don't use a lot of slides, you'll be tired. After a time, you'll just be tired. And everything will, that's a fallacy, okay? You have to use slides, but it doesn't necessarily have to be lots of slides. The slides that are relevant in delivering your point, that is what is important. And then also, you have to start with a joke. Some people will tell you, I have to start. It has to be very funny. People have to understand me, not necessarily. At the end of my own session of the training, we'll tell you how to start a speech. The openers, how to start a speech. Some of the opening lines you have to address, okay? Some people will say you have to start with a joke, not necessarily, okay? And then some other people will say you have to tell the audience that you are nervous. It makes you feel better. You have to tell the audience. And you know, some people, by the time they want to start a speech, I'm nervous right now. I'm shy. And say people who tell you have to start that way so that you can make yourself feel comfortable. Not necessarily, okay? If it works for you, fine. But that is not something that you have to do, okay? If you're a confident speaker, we'll look at the things you have to do. So these are some of the fallacies. And then another one is pretend the audience is not there. You have to when you're standing, just to overcome your shyness, just pretend they're not there. No, you have to engage your audience. You have to look at them in the eye. You have to have eye contact when you're speaking. So you can't just pretend they're not there and just be looking bland, looking above their heads. No, that is not public speaking. You have to look at their faces. They need you to be believable. They need to be able to connect with you. And the only way you can connect with them is if you're looking at their eye, speaking to them, connect with them, looking convincing, and we'll look at all these things. Let me not get ahead of myself. Okay? So these are some of the fallacies that people have. Also, all right. Also, it is wrong to feel nervous. People tell you it is wrong to feel nervous. The fact that you're nervous means you're not an effective speaker. I can tell you for free that many of the accomplished public speakers in life, they are nervous. They are always nervous, including myself. Whenever you stand up to speak or address a crowd or audience, you are always going to be nervous, okay? You're always going to be nervous. Some people have overcome the nervousness and all of those things, but don't say, I don't have to feel nervous. It is wrong. If you're nervous, that means you're not a good public speaker. No, you can feel nervous and still deliver effectively. Take note of that. You have to underline that. You can feel nervous and still deliver effectively. Okay? So let's proceed now. These are some of the fallacies that you should debunk. Destroy all this thinking and thought processes. They are not compatible with public speaking. and we're going to look at some of the things you need to take on. Okay, this is just an introduction. Now remember, we're still in introduction section. All right, let's go on now. This is something that I used while I was in school. I just wanted to add this thought to it. The 5 P's of public speaking. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Back in school, I used to make it 6. Proper preparation and planning prevents poor performance. That's something about public speaking. You have to prepare. And the better you prepare, the more adequately you are armed and sufficiently capable to deliver. So preparation, very key. So we'll look at all the things that go into preparation now, before we now look at the delivery, which will be handled by Mr. Dami today. All right, quickly, let's go on now to effective communication now. Basics of effective communication, session 2. If you are enjoying me so far, it's already 8:30. Hope you are feeling me, hope you are loving the training so far, it's going well. Please begin to take down your questions as I'm going on. Let me get some feelers from the comment section if you are enjoying the training so far. I know we haven't done so much yet, but it's very important that we engage ourselves so that I don't get bored. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Fantastic. All right. So public speaking. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can see you on point, solid, making sense. Idara, thank you. Fantastic. So this is effective communication. Now, what is effective communication? Effective communication is what? Remember I said public speaking is a form of communication. Don't forget that. And communication is a common understanding between the communicator and the recipient after some form of exchange of information or instruction. Take note of those 2 words, communicator and recipient. Communicator and what? Recipient. Very, very important. You are the communicator and there's a recipient. There is no communication if there is no recipient. There's no communication if there's no communicator. It is a 2-way process. So public speaking is a form of communication. And so the 3 major things, the communicator, the recipient, and the information, those are the 3 basic things. There has to be exchange of information. And that's why you can't say there's no audience. Let me just assume there's no audience. No, the audience is what makes your speech. That is why we are going to look at audience analysis. The audience is, even if there's no audience in front of you physically, you have to imagine, because certain times, especially in this age, I mean, I can't see you now, for example, I'm just speaking to a laptop, but this is public speaking. You have to think about your audience in your delivery. So it's not just, there's no audience. Let me just imagine there's nobody here. The audience is key. And we're going to look at all the intricacies later. But that's the definition of communication. Now, let's go forward further. Now, there are 3 major areas of communication, especially when it comes to speaking. There are 3 major areas of communication. So when we talk about speech now, there are areas of communication that constitute your speech. Look at, for example, the words you speak when you're speaking is 5% to 15%. So you can see that public speaking is not just about words. Can you see the percentage? The words you speak. So people have amassed so much knowledge, so much wisdom from different resources, from different places. The words you speak is just 5 to 15%. What are the other percentages? Look at the tone of your voice is between 20 to 30%. Can you see that it's not just about the words? Some people have packed all the interesting out. And it's okay to be brilliant. We live in an information age where there's so much abundant information everywhere. People can present information. But the effective public speaker uses other things. The tone of voice, for example. But more importantly, look at the major part. Major part is what? Your non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication, which is between 55% to 75%. Your body, how is your body reacting? What's your facial expression like? It is in your facial expression that we'll see emotion. It is in your facial expression that we'll see conviction. It is in your facial expression that you'll be able to convince your audience. Some people are just talking and there's nothing, their face is not showing what they are saying. We are just delivering information. It's just dropping like water, nothing. It's not. So you can see that non-verbal, and we're going to look at what non-verbal communication is. Quickly, let's move on. So in communication, we have verbal and non-verbal communication. There's verbal and non-verbal. Communication is not just verbal, it's not just words. There are non-verbal communication also. What is verbal communication? Verbal communication can either be written or oral. Written or oral communication. So when we talk about written communication, we talk about letters, all the things you write. So when we talk about writing, well, in one of our classes previously, we have looked at the business writing. So that's written communication, use of letters, emails, internet, faxes, telephone text. Some people don't know how to write, make grammatical errors. They don't know how to spell words correctly. They don't know how to use punctuation marks effectively. That's written communication. We have looked at that previously in one of our classes. But there's oral communication, which is what we are doing today. That is through words of mouth. That is speeches, presentations, chats, and all of those things. Those are oral communication. So that is what you have under verbal. When you are using words to express yourself, that is verbal. But remember that there's non-verbal, which constitutes what? 55 to 75% of your speech. That must not be sidelined, okay? Very important. Now look at what non-verbal is. Look at what non-verbal is. Non-verbal communication. It is the communication of feelings, emotions, attitudes, thoughts, through the use of pictures, signboards, and even your face. Emotions. How do you communicate emotion? How do you communicate attitude? How do you communicate thoughts? How do you express yourself? That's non-verbal communication. Also, it's your non-verbal communication is what is used to enhance your verbal messages. Many people have so many words they have spoken, but their non-verbal skills are not enhancing the verbal communication. You need to work on your non-verbal, your facial expression, your body language, your everything. And we're going to look at it now. Look at some areas of non-verbal communication. Look at some areas of non-verbal communication. Look at some components. There's a study called kinesics. It's the study of facial expressions, postures, and gestures. Have you seen some people when they are speaking, they will dramatize, they will do many things. They are speaking, but all of those dramatics, all of those things help them to be able to communicate their point effectively. Facial expression, your posture, how you stay on stage, how you balance, how you adjust yourself, how your facial expression communicates a point. That's kinesics. Your gestures, your hand signs. Some people don't use hand, they don't express themselves when they speak. Some people have hands. All of those things enhance your communication. Also, there's also what is called oculesics. Oculesics is the role of eye contact. Have you seen some public speakers when they are speaking, they are looking at your eyes like this? It's as if the words they are saying is penetrating into your eyes. They are not shy. Even though they are shy, when you maintain eye contact with people, there's a way the words you are saying transfers into them. When you're looking at them and they're looking at you, and you're not just looking at the ceiling and delivering. You are looking at them, they're looking at you, and they can't see your eyes. You are transferring the words. It's like you are entering into the soul. That's why eye contact is very important. We're going to look at that later. Haptics, the study of touching another person. When you're speaking certain times also, if it's a small crowd, for example, you can touch some people, you can express yourself, touching and all of that. Prosemics is the study of measurable distance between people as they interact. If there's a small gathering, there has to be a distance. If you're interacting, there's a place you would stay on the stage where your communication will be more effective. There's a positioning, there's a place, there is distance you have to maintain between the audience. It's not everywhere you can't speak from everywhere in an auditorium. There's a particular place you have to stay to deliver a particular point. Your movement on the stage, all of those things, very important. There's also chronemics, how you use time. Some people don't know how to use time. We're going to look at that later on. How do you manage your time effectively? Very important. These are all non-verbal elements. You can see that. You can see why it constitutes 55 to 75% of communication. There's also paralinguistics. This is your voice tone, your speed, your volume, your pauses. Some people know how to use pauses effectively. You're going to learn how to do this later. How to skillfully use a pause. Sometimes you just say a point and just wait for 30 seconds. Just wait for people. Let it sink in. Because every time you're going to be shouting, deliver your point, and that's all. You just go. No. 10 times you have to pause for effect. Pause for effect. That's why even in the Holy Bible, there's this part that says Selah. Selah. What that means is think and meditate on this. That's what it means. Selah. So pause. So when you're speaking, sometimes you have to pause for emphasis. Okay? That's paralinguistics. Okay? Quickly now, let's move on. Now, there are 4 language skills. I always teach this as a teacher of English language. Some of us will know this if you're a teacher of English language. There are 4 language skills. When you are learning a language, when you are using a language to speak, when you are saying somebody is competent in the use of a language, that person is competent in 4 major areas. Number 1, the person is competent in listening. That's listening. That's it. Secondly, the person is competent in speaking. Then the person is competent in reading. Then the person is competent in writing. That is the progression. That is why when people go to write all these English language exams, IELTS, TOEFL exams, these are the 4 areas they are tested in. So if you want to learn Mandarin, Spanish, all of these things, these are the 4 skills you have to acquire. And they are connected. I want to see how they connect to. You can see where speaking is. You can see where speaking is. And there's a connection between all these 4 skills that I want to quickly show us before we now focus on the speaking aspect. Now, these 4 skills are classified into 2. The 2, speaking and writing, are classified under productive skills. What does that mean? You produce information with speaking and writing. You receive information with listening and reading. Don't forget this, very important. You receive information. When you are listening, you are receiving information. When you are reading, you are receiving information. But when you are speaking, you are delivering information. When you are writing, you are delivering information. So you have to work on your receptive skills. Many people have not developed their receptive skills before they are producing. It's a law of sowing and reaping. You have to take in something first before you can deliver something. That's why many speakers that are effective, they are highly solid readers. They read books. They know stuff. That's why in your preparation, you have to work on your research. It is what you have inside of you that will help you to deliver effectively. Receive information with listening. Receive information with reading. That's why when you are preparing for your speech, you have to read. You have to listen to other people, which is why we shared with you some previous some speeches of presidents. Listen to those things. They will help you to become a better speaker. Furthermore, there's a connection again. Look at this second connection. There's a connection between listening and speaking. And there's a connection between reading and writing. The more you listen, the more effective you will speak. If you want to be an effective speaker, listen to people that you admire. You will become like them. There are people that I listen to. When I listen to them, I like to sound like Pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes, for example. When I listen to him, I listen to him a lot. And many ministers I listen to, many people I listen to, thought leaders, Joe Marks, when they express themselves, more than what they are saying is how they are saying it. More than what, remember, more than what they are saying is how they are saying it. That's how you learn. So if you want to be an effective speaker, listen. And if you want to be an effective writer, read. Read books of people you admire. See how they constructed their sentences. Can you see the connection? So listening is the input, speaking is the output. Reading is the input, writing is the output. Did you get that? Did we get that? Okay. So these are just background. We're just establishing the background. We're going to focus on speaking out. But it's very important for us to give the foundational understanding. Okay. Let's go now quickly. Ethics of public speaking. So I've finished the first 2 parts, introduction and effective communication. What are the ethics? Now, before you even say you want to start teaching or training or speaking or delivering, there are certain things you have to understand. That in public speaking, there are ethics. Ethics is very important. I'm sure you understand what ethics means. But quickly, what is ethics? Now, ethics is basically standards of conduct, things you should do, how to conduct yourself, things you should not do. Ethics simply, because speech making is a form of power. And so there are responsibilities. Whenever you stand before an audience to speak, you are powerful. Whenever you are speaking before people, they have allowed you to come before them. They've allowed you to stand before them. So you are that's why you should not treat it with kid gloves. That is why this training is very important. That is why people that lack ethics should not speak. Because when you stand before people and you are delivering, you are churning out value. Can you see on social media, for example, that's why social media is very powerful. People will just be there and just say things. Many people are looking at them. It's a form of power. All of those people that have large following on social media, 2.5 million, 10 million followers, and all of those followers, they are powerful because the things they say, lots of people are listening. Lots of people. And that's why you have to be ethical. Ethical. That's why people that are wrong, that have large following, people that have wrong values, and they have large followings, they can be devastating. Devastating. Okay? What is ethics? Ethics is the branch of philosophy that deals with issues of right and wrong in human affairs. And that's why at the Soft Skills Academy, we are so keen on ethics. We are not teaching you public speaking to go and use it to be a source of disaster in the community, to go and affect lives negatively, to go and influence lives negatively. They are ethics. People have misused and abused the power of public speaking. That's why we want to look at ethics. in public speaking. Why is ethics important? Because there's a tendency to abuse power with disastrous results. People, because I can speak now, people can just pay you to say rubbish. People can just pay you to say nothing and damage the lives of people. I can see a case in the Bible where a particular person was called, a king called a particular person to come and say certain words to a particular community. And the guy, anything he says sticks. He's an effective public speaker, very effective public speaker. So people can cause you, and that's why when we have conferences and seminars, people that can speak well, they're called, and someone that are paid huge amounts of money. Imagine those people don't have ethics and they say wrong things. They just damage young minds, impressionable people. So you have to have ethics. Ethics is also important because just as there are guidelines for ethical behavior, there are things you should do and things you should not do. There are guidelines for if you're the father of the house, for example, there are things you should do. There is a way you conduct your affairs in a house. There are ways you conduct your affairs in a company, in a church, in a business. That's the same way we have conduct ethics in public speaking. Very important. Remember Adolf Hitler. How many of us remember Adolf Hitler? Adolf Hitler was very powerful. We're going to look at him later on in ethics. He was an effective public speaker. Most of the damage he did was because he was an effective public speaker, but he lacked values. That was why he did so much damage and killed lots of Jews. Lack of ethics. And that's why ethics is very important. Adolf Hitler was one of the reasons why the topic of ethics was included in public speaking, because he convinced people on the wrong course of action based on his persuasive speech. He spoke to a point where everybody started killing Jews and all of those things. That's the power of speech. It must not be abused. Quickly, there are guidelines for ethical speaking. I want to quickly look at 4 of them. 4 guidelines for ethical speaking. When you are speaking, when you are deciding to speak, you must obey these 4 guidelines. There are some others, but these 4 are the basic 4 guidelines for ethical speaking. Number 1 is that you have to make sure your goals are ethically sound. Number 2, you have to be fully prepared for each speech. That's one of your responsibilities. Number 3, you have to be honest in what you say. And then number 4, you have to avoid name calling and other forms of abusive language. These 4 ethics are the guidelines. These 4 guidelines are very important in your delivery. When you're delivering public, when you're delivering any speech, very important. These 4, we want to look at them one after the other quickly. We want to look at them one after the other. Number 1, make sure your goals are ethically sound. Make sure your goals are ethically sound. What do we mean by that? What are the goals? What is the purpose of your speech? Understand that ethical considerations can affect a speaker's choice of goals. What are the goals? What are the things you want? Why do I want to deliver this speech? You have to ask yourself, am I delivering this speech because I want to sway somebody in a wrong course of action? I want to persuade them to do something that will be a damage to somebody else's life. If your goal is wrong, then your ethics is based on your ethics because you have wrong ethics. So you have to get your goals right. Very important. Think about Hitler. I mentioned Hitler earlier on. He was powerful, but he had wrong goals. He stirred the German people to condone war, invasion, and genocide. He exterminated Jews. Lots of Jews were killed and destroyed. That's the wrong goal. So you don't use public speaking to influence people negatively. It is an ethic. If you have something to deliver, you have to make sure that your goals are ethically sound. Think about politicians who betray the public trust for personal gain. We have instances in Nigeria where people come and speak, especially when the elections are close. They just come and speak so passionately, eloquently. All of those things, they just use that to bamboozle us. They won't do some of those things. You should not be like that. In public speaking, there's ethics. When you say something, you mean what you say and you say what you mean. You have to, and it is springing from your goals. What am I trying to achieve? That is why when you look at President Obama, he had ethics and we could see it all through his life. And those are the things that will make you effective. When you stand with somebody, there's a trajectory. These are just basic understanding. And I'm sure we are all good people here. You understand what ethics is, so I won't stay too much on this. Think about business leaders who defraud investors of millions of dollars. So business leaders, they are so skillful. They will convince you, if you invest in this, you will do this and all of that. They have persuaded you into defrauding you. That is not the purpose of public speaking. Think about preachers who live lavish lifestyles at the expense of their religious duties. People, they can preach. They are very good preaching machine, but all of those things, they are just using to convince you to pay your tithe and pay your friend so that they can influence you and all of those things negatively without impacting your life. So number one, make sure your goals are ethically sound. Before you stand before an audience, your goal has to be right. Have the right goals. Number two, be fully prepared for each speech. This is very important. Your role as a public speaker, no matter what is happening, be ready for your speech. All that went into preparing for this training, lots of things went into getting ready, preparing, getting ready, everything, all the programs, all the slides, getting ready, all the resources, be prepared. What does that mean? Neither the size or the composition of your audience changes your responsibility to be fully prepared. Don't say, I'm speaking to only 5 people. I'll just prepare shabbily. No, that is wrong. I'm speaking to just children. They're just 7-year-olds. No, I don't have to read. I'll just speak from my head. No, that is wrong. The size or the composition of audience should not affect. Being prepared for a speech involves everything. You have to analyze your visual aids, create the right aids. That's what it means to prepare. Do your research, organize it. Some people don't take time to organize. Your role as a public speaker is to ensure that you are what? Prepared. You have to be prepared for every speech, okay? All right, so next one is the fact that you have to prepare adequately so that you don't communicate erroneous information. Prepare adequately. That's one of the things you have to prepare, okay? So that's why you have to prepare. There are people that have spoken and said so many things and they are wrong, they have communicated wrong information because they were not properly prepared. That's why you have to do your research, invest in research. The statistics you are given, make sure it is right. Don't go and say something that it is the wrong thing. It is your role as a public speaker to ensure that the things you are saying are right. Investigate all the sites, learn all the sites. Any fact that is not right, anything that is not right, be sure that you are right. The things you are saying, be prepared. That's why you have to prepare. If you are not prepared, if you have not invested time in research, you wouldn't know all these things. It is your role to be prepared. Okay? And then lastly, and the third one, be honest in what you say. Be honest in what you say. Anything you say has to be right. Public speaking rests on the unspoken assumption that words can be trusted. Whenever somebody has invited you to come and speak somewhere, you have been entrusted with the responsibility that everything you say is right. And so you have to hold that value in high esteem. Be honest. When you stand before hundreds of people, lots of people, no matter the number, even 2-3 people, anything you say, don't just go and these are some of the things you should avoid. Avoid juggling statistics and quoting out of context. I don't go and put statistics that is wrong. Avoid misrepresenting the sources of facts and figures. Avoid those things. Avoid what? Painting tentative findings and firm conclusions. All these things are self-explanatory. I don't want to go into them. Don't do tentative findings, something that is not conclusive. You say, they have found it, research has shown that. No, it is wrong. Avoid portraying a few details as the whole story. If you don't know something is the whole story, don't point it. Don't give all the information. Make sure you say it and say, this thing, I'm not sure about it. This, I'm not sure about this matter. Avoid citing unusual cases as typical examples. These are some of the things that people do, and their ethics is damaged. By the time they stand for an audience and they say something, somebody will not want what you said is wrong, and their reputation is not damaged because you did not do research and because you were not what you said. Okay, that's why it's very important. Do not present other people's words as your own. Plagiarism. Don't go and quote something from this is common in this part of our world. People just copy the people and they don't cite, especially in this age of social media. They just say it as it is themselves just speaking. I have my point. No. There are ethics to these things that have to be learned. You can't just say, and I know I'm speaking, I have a point, I have an idea. Have these ethics first, and then we'll go to the next thing. Okay? Are we ready? Okay, now. So that's ethics. We're done with ethics now. Quickly now. Okay, plagiarism. A quick word on plagiarism. I'm sure we all know what plagiarism is. I'm just going to go right quickly. Plagiarism, to give the impression that you have written or taught something yourself when you have actually taken it from somebody else. When you give the impression that, I'm the one that did this. And there are different forms of plagiarism. There are different forms of plagiarism. Look at these different forms of plagiarism. Number one, global plagiarism. When you steal an entire speech from a single source and say, I'm the one that wrote it. You take an entire work, an entire article, an entire speech and say, I'm the one that delivered it. That is global plagiarism. There's patchwork plagiarism. When you steal ideas from 2 or 3 sources. You say, let me pick from here, pick from here, pick from here, and you present it as your own. That's patchwork plagiarism. All those things are wrong. And then there's also incremental plagiarism, when you are failing to give credits to a particular part of a speech that you borrowed from other people. So whether you quote or paraphrase, always cite the source. So how do we avoid plagiarism? Now we've talked about patchwork plagiarism, global plagiarism, all those kinds of plagiarism. Now it is very important that you know how to avoid plagiarism, because it is wrong to plagiarize when you speak and even when you write. So one of the things to help you to avoid plagiarism is to what? Do not leave your speech to the last minute. You know, many people leave their speech to the last minute. They are in a hurry because they've been told about the training that they're going to speak at a function 2 months ahead, but they never get to start preparing until 2 days. I mean, so and by the time they do that, they're already in a hurry, trying to get all the necessary materials, trying to get all the necessary resources, and from there they go to the internet and begin to plagiarize because they haven't taken enough time to think and come up with original ideas that will help them deliver on the speech. So do not leave your speech to the last minute. That's a good way to avoid plagiarism. Another way is to ensure that you consult a wide range of research materials. If you do that, you are less likely to fall into the trap of plagiarism. Because if you are doing your research and you focus so much on a particular article, you go to the internet and everything you're getting it from a particular place. You're not helping yourself. You are making yourself to be subject to plagiarism. So if you are preparing for a speech, consult widely. Go to the internet, go to libraries, ask questions, come up with original ideas. That way, you are less likely to fall into the trap of plagiarism. Another way is to ensure that you take your research notes. Be careful that when taking research notes, you distinguish among direct quotations. So when you have researched, you've gone to the internet, gotten all the materials from the internet, be sure to know where you have gotten a direct quotation, where you are paraphrasing, where this part is your own comment. Don't just mumble everything together and say, oh, it is all my speech. I'm the one that said all these things. No, there are certain places where you have to use double quotations. There are certain places you have to use direct quotations. There are certain places where you have to indicate who said what. So don't just mumble everything. And then when in doubt, it's always very important to err on the side of caution. Cite your source. This way you can never go wrong. Always cite your source. You can't go wrong that way. Just ensure that any book you're writing, anything you're saying, any statistics you're quoting, make sure there's a source to it. It also gives some validity to your statement when you're able to cite sources. Saying a quotation, don't say unknown. If you know who said it, put it there. Plagiarism is a very wrong thing to do. It may not be very severe in this part of our world, in Nigeria, or over there abroad, people can be sued and pay huge sums of money as a result of plagiarism. So that's what you want to avoid, especially if you are becoming an international speaker. That's something you want to avoid. So that's that about plagiarism. Right now, we're moving swiftly to this aspect of the training that I very much find interesting, and that has to do with confidence, positivity, and assertiveness. Now, this part of the training is very essential. Now, in preparing for this class on public speaking, I know one of the greatest fears of people is the fact that they are shy. People are shy to speak, and so when they are called on to engage and talk and interact, they are afraid to express themselves. They are afraid to stand before an audience because they are shy. So this session is very important. This session on confidence, positivity, and assertiveness will cure every form of shyness towards making you to become confident, removing every fear, and then making you confident in your speech. Now, first of all, so let's start with confidence. Follow me closely here. Now, there are different causes of shyness. People are shy for different reasons. I hope you're following this training. I hope you're finding it very interesting so far. You can put it in the comment section if you're finding it interesting as we go further. Now, there are different causes of shyness. People are shy for different reasons, different causes of shyness. A major cause of shyness is the fact that people are deficient in the knowledge about the subject matter. So one of the reasons why people are shy, they're afraid to stand before an audience, to express themselves, to communicate their ideas, is because they do not have as much knowledge as they should about the subject matter. They are deficient. They don't know so much about the subject matter. So they have not read, they have not studied. So your shyness will be visible. So because if you are knowledgeable about the subject matter, you will exude that confidence on stage. By the time you get there to stand, so you need to really read. Shyness can be cured with information. The more exposed you are to what you want to talk about, the better confident, the more confident you will be to stand before your audience and talk and express yourself. Secondly, lack of conviction about the subject matter. People are shy because they are not as persuaded about the subject matter as they should. Now, they may have all the information, they may have done all the research, put it all together, but they are not persuaded. So by the time they are standing, they don't even believe what they are saying. They're trying to persuade you or trying to tell you to buy something or trying to convince you about a course of action. They themselves are not convinced about that course of action. That is why they're shy. So, and because shyness can be seen on the face, they begin to stammer. They begin to it shows in their facial expression lack of conviction about the subject matter. So, as a public speaker, what you want to do is to bring yourself to a place where you are confident. And you are not just confident, you are confident because you are convinced about what you are saying, you are persuaded. And that has a way of capturing the attention of the audience. Lastly is inexperience. People are inexperienced. And the third one is inexperience. People are shy because they haven't done it before. And the only way you can cure this is to practice. Any speaking opportunity you get, take advantage of it. Inexperience, that's the only way. Practice, practice, practice. You get better at speaking by speaking. It is not magic. You get better at speaking by speaking. It's not something automatic. And then lastly, laziness and self-consciousness. Laziness and self-consciousness. Some people are just lazy. They just think, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't like it. And they don't want to improve themselves. And then this other part of self-consciousness is the one I want to focus on now. Self-consciousness is perhaps the greatest cause of shyness. Some people focus so much on themselves. And I usually get angry. And that's why I'll zero in on self-consciousness right now. Why are you self-conscious when there's something major to be talked about? And that's why let's look at self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is a major cause of shyness. People focus too much on themselves. Now, if you are a public speaker, you have been called to speak and you are self-conscious, your shyness will be obvious. What you should do instead is to embrace the fear of being self-conscious. What are you afraid of? Are you self-conscious because people, what will they say? What will they think? How do I look? No. Public speaking is a responsibility. And once you have been called to speak, you should embrace that fear of what people, just embrace it. Everybody, I can tell you, the most authoritative speakers, the most persuasive speakers have always been fearful, afraid about certain things. And so they but still went on to deliver. The nervousness is there, the shyness is there, but they embraced the fear. Self-consciousness is undue consciousness on yourself. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to focus on yourself. Focus on the subject matter, what you have to deliver. Self-consciousness, and this is an assignment I want to give us. Write the things about yourself that make you shy. Take a moment, 30 seconds perhaps. What are the things about yourself that make you shy? If you have been called to speak or make a presentation before people, what are the things? Is it because your English, you make certain mistakes, you're not confident about your English, or you have not done enough research? What are the things that make you shy? Write it down. Those are the things you want to address. And then generally, self-consciousness is usually as a result of fear of doing poorly or an assumption of doing well. So some people are so conscious about the fact that, hope I won't do poorly, hope I did well. By the time they are done with the speech, they're asking questions. Did I do well? Did I do well? They're asking all the questions. They are afraid. And then some people are self-conscious because they are under the assumption that they have done well. Did I do well? I impressed them. I impressed them. They're asking questions. All of those things won't help you as a public speaker. The major thing, your responsibility as a public speaker is to focus on your assignment of delivering that speech and delivering it. And you can see in the next slide, we're going to look at how to cure self-consciousness towards making you confident. So deal with self-consciousness. So quickly now, how do you acquire confidence before an audience? How do you deal with the issue of self-consciousness? Remember, you have to deal with the fact that you have to acquire knowledge about the subject matter, know so much about your subject matter. It gives you confidence. Number 2, be convinced and persuaded about it. And number 3, practice, interact with people, practice. And then the next one is self-consciousness. And so this self-consciousness is what we want to address in this particular slide. How do you acquire confidence before an audience? First point is that you have to be absorbed by your subject. Let what you want to say capture your attention. For the purpose of delivery, yourself is secondary to the subject. yourself, your person, you are not as important as what is to be talked about. Be captured. Let what you want to say take you. Let that consciousness fill you. It is sheer egotism to fill your mind with thoughts of self when the greater thing is there. I mean, think about the fact that, for example, there's a crowd there, an audience in front of you, and there's a fire outbreak, and you're supposed to go and tell the people in the audience that there's a fire outbreak. Everybody, there's a fire outbreak, and then you're not saying, I'm afraid I can't stand before them, I'm shy. No, what you want to say is more important than the people that are in front of you, because it is the truth. So, and that's why it is often said that though your audience is more important than you, the truth is more important than both of you. And so when you're absorbed by your subject, you put in yourself the consciousness of delivering value, the things you want to say, you let that take you over, then that thought of fear will begin to dissolve. That shyness will begin to dissolve. The importance of what you are saying should drive all fearful thoughts out of your mind. Be absorbed by your subject. That's a major thing there. Number two is that you have to do what? Get your thoughts organized. Many people are shy because they have not outlined the things they want to say. Whenever I stand before the Lagos Teachers Conference and anchoring my event, all the very first few sentences I say, everything is scripted. Everything is written down. Have the first few sentences worked out completely, so that by the time you are standing to speak, you know exactly what you want to say. And then you know the sequence, you know the order of your thoughts. Many people begin to stammer, they begin to, by the time you begin to stammer, you begin to feel as though you are not delivering as much as you should. And then the shyness will now become obvious, and you just mess the whole thing up. But by the time you have everything lined up, ordered, precise, everything is clear, don't just know what you will say, know how you will say it. I mean, at the Lagos Church Conference, I know everything I will say, the laughs, the claps, the things I will say, the things how I will introduce the next guest. Every word is scripted. Everything is written down specifically with clarity. Know your subject better than your audience. As you're expressing yourself, know it better than them. Be able to communicate your thoughts expressly, clearly, and lucidly. And then the third way to acquire confidence is to expect success. Expect success. Stay positive. And that's what I want to focus on. I remember this session is about confidence, positivity, and assertiveness. And so this third way is to expect. Don't criticize yourself even before you start. Don't say, will I do well? Stay positive. Believe in yourself. If you believe you will fail, you will. But if you believe you'll be successful, then you'll be successful. So stay confident. Stay confident. Believe in yourself. Believe that you're going to deliver on that public speaking. People are going to love your speech. People are going to like what you're going to say. And that's why the next aspect we want to look at now is positivity. But before we look at positivity, these are some of the tips to overcome nerves and timing problems. You want to overcome your nerves and timing problems, break your speech. I've mentioned this already. Break your speech into small, manageable chunks. Don't have it all mumbled up, everything together. Break it into small chunks, small chunks, small chunks. Don't mumble it all together and say, I want to talk. You know that this one, I'm going to say it here. That helps you to overcome nerves. Also, rehearse, practice. See yourself delivering the speech. Practice before a mirror if you have to. Practice before friends. Take up every opportunity to speak publicly. Practice is what makes perfect, as the saying goes. Practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the better you'll be at it. Gather friends together. Practice before them. And also take deep, controlled breaths. Smiling, also very important. Smiling has a way of calming your nerves. If you are feeling if you're feeling all the nerves and you're afraid, you're shy, just keep smiling. And I'm sure you've seen some speakers before they climb up stage, they take deep, controlled breaths because they are trying to calm themselves down. And that's a practice you want to inculcate and imbibe. And smile often, smile often. When you smile, you get to calm yourself down. And even the audience, you feel welcome and warm with them. Ask close people to review your presentation. That's also very important. Before you go to the major presentation, before you present. So ask people about your presentation. Get people to get their buy-in, get their support. Let them comment about your topic. Let them comment about what you are saying. Let them comment, give feedback, get feedback from the environment, from your friend, from your family. It helps you. And then also be as conversant with the composition of your audience. I won't say so much about this because there's a session about audience analysis. Know your audience. The more you know your audience, the better you're able to deliver to them. The less shy you will be because you're able to connect with them. It helps you to be much calmer. I won't say so much about that. When we get to the section on audience analysis, you get clarity on that. Also, get someone to time you. Some people don't know how to manage their time. If you need someone to time you, I know how to manage my time. I prepare my speech such that the things I want to say, I say them and practice them before that day. And so I know how long it will take for me to say certain things before I deliver on them. So get someone to time you and raise timing banners up to you. Okay? Very important. And then next one is the fact that you have to speak slowly. Don't be in a speak slowly. Don't be in a hurry. Okay, very important. Speak slowly. Don't be in a hurry to say all the things you want to say. Speak calmly. If you are too fast, people won't get what you are saying. If you are too fast and you're just when you're saying all the things, let your words have a penetrative effect on the audience. Let your words have it in a slow and calm and steady way. That's how you calm your nerves. You're not in a hurry to say the things you want to say. You're not too fast. You're not too slow. You maintain a steady pace. Very important. And then also important, talk to yourself. Speak to yourself. Hey, I can get this done. You want to stand before a mirror. That's what helps you. Talk to yourself. Deliver. Just talk to yourself. Help yourself. Get your self-talk right. You need to talk to yourself. Have a positive self-talk. I can do it. I can get it done. I am going to be happy. I'm going to deliver. People are going to like my speech. All of those things help you to deliver. Very important. And the next one is be positive. Remember, we talked about confidence, positivity, and assertiveness. So let's talk about positivity now. Now, public speaking is a psychological thing, very psychological, and it starts from your thoughts. And so that's why you have to be positive. From the moment you have been invited to give a speech, up until the time you are preparing, till the time you mount the stage, you have to stay positive. Positivity helps you to deliver your speech. And all of this things start in your thoughts. And that's why it's very important to have a positive mental attitude. If from the start of preparing for your speech, you're already telling yourself, will they like me? I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I will deliver. No, that means you're having a negative attitude. And if you have a negative attitude, it will tell on your speech. So you have to stay positive. Talk to yourself. I'm going to deliver value. People are going to love my speech. At the end of my speech, they're going to like me. It's a psychological thing. This is not just about positive self-talk. No, it has an effect on your psyche, and it has an effect on your on your delivery. Very important. See how a positive mental attitude. See what the effect it has. A positive mental attitude has a what? Gives you a possibility thinking attitude. The more positive you are about your speech, the more possible you begin to see. You begin to see the connection. You begin to see that, yes, I'm going to believe this speech is possible. I can deliver it. But if you are negative about it, you begin to see, maybe I can't do it. So your positive mental attitude gives you a possibility thinking attitude. You begin to see that, yes, it is possible. I can deliver value here. They will like me. So have a positive mindset. Many people don't see the need for this, but we just start to include this part in the training so that as you're preparing for your speech, don't look down on yourself. You can get emotional. When you're speaking, for example, when you see the lineup of other speakers that are coming, you begin to look down on yourself. How much experience do I have? But no, have a positive mental attitude. How much experience? I didn't go to some major school like some of these other speakers. I don't have so many degrees. I don't have so many experience. No, believe in yourself. Speak to yourself. Certain times, for example, when I'm called upon to come and speak at a particular place, then I see the lineup of speakers. Some of them prestigious universities, some PI. I speak to myself. I go back to my history and find something to hold on to. I begin to say, look, I can deliver value here. I'm somebody of worth. People will love what I have to say, and it always ends up very well. So positive mental attitude always leads to a possibility thinking attitude. All right, so next one is now assertiveness. This is very, very important in helping you to be more confident. You need to be assertive. What is assertiveness? Assertiveness simply means respecting other people's rights as well as your own. Now, we live in a part of this world where many people are just shy. They are respectful. In this part of the Nigerians especially, old people, you are very respectful. You don't want to step on any toes. You don't want to say anything that will offend anyone. And so it begins to affect your assertiveness as a person, either in speech or even in writing. You are not able to say things the way they should be. A public speaker should be assertive. You respect, you're not disrespecting anybody. You communicate effectively, directly, and with confidence. You say what you ought to say. You say, you deliver value, you say the things, you're not disrespecting anybody. Assertiveness is dealing with conflict effectively and calmly. When you're delivering your speech, people expect you to be assertive. You are receiving feedback from people, people expect you to be assertive. And we're going to look at the intricacies of assertiveness now. Now, there are certain rules of assertion. See, these are some of the things about assertiveness also. It's about setting boundaries. Your focus is on behavior and problem solving instead of attacking, ignoring the person. That's not what I want us to look at now. The next aspect is what I want us to look at. Look at the rules of assertion. An assertive person says the following, and you have to bring yourself to a place of assertiveness for you to deliver your speech effectively. Now, an assertive person says, I have the right to respect myself, what I am, and what I do. In preparing your speech, this is what you have to tell yourself. As I'm standing before these people, the things I want to say, I respect myself. I respect who I am. I respect the pedigree I have. I respect the qualifications I have. I respect the experience I have. Also, I respect, or I have the right to recognize my own needs. I respect the fact that I have needs as an individual. I have things I want to say, things I want to do. I have things I want to, you recognize your own needs as what? As an individual. If you are giving a speech, for example, and you need a cup of water, you have a right to ask for a cup of water. Very important. So you're not feeling as though this person is doing this and I'm not doing this. No. You have a right to recognize your own needs. You have a need. The fact that somebody is doing something and you are not doing something doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can, of your own self, decide to say, I need this. The fact that this person doesn't need this doesn't mean that I shouldn't need it. Okay? You have the right to recognize your own needs as an individual. Also, you have the right to do what? To make clear I statements. Some people don't know how to say, I want this. I feel this way. This is what I think. Because they just believe, because this person thinks this way, because this person feels this way, my own opinion doesn't matter. You have a right. The fact that because this person has a solid degree and experience and they have made their own opinion known, whereas your own opinion is in contrast to what this person has said. For example, even a question and answer session, the fact that this person has said something and you have a contrary opinion, of course, you have to approach it wisely, but you always have a right to also express your own opinion and say, I feel this way, I think this way. That is what it means to be assertive. Be assertive. You have a right to make mistakes. Don't allow anybody to bamboozle you or to confuse you and say, see, you made a mistake. No, you have a right to make mistakes. Don't feel as though, because you made a mistake now, everybody's laughing at you. No, you can make mistakes and pick up again. Continue from there. Also, you have a right to change your mind. The fact that you said something now doesn't mean you can't change it again later on. People change their mind. And so you shouldn't allow people to box you in and say, but you said this the other time. No, I've changed my mind. Of course, you shouldn't change your mind often and over again and all that. The essence of this aspect of the training is to make you an assertive person. Because when you stand up to speak, we want to see an assertive person, somebody who knows what he's saying. Because remember what we said at the start of the training, public speaking is a responsibility. By the time you stand up in front of people to speak, people are expecting the truth. People are expecting value. People are expecting somebody of substance. So you should be assertive. Also, you have the right to do what? To ask for thinking time. This is very important. Many speakers are afraid when you ask, they ask them questions and they are afraid. I'm not sure I know this answer. If you don't know the answer, look, can you give me more time to think about this? I'll come back to you on that. You, as an assertive person, you are not afraid to say, please, I'm not sure about that answer, about that question, the answer to that question. Can I get back to you later on? You can ask for thinking. Can I get 5 more minutes to express my point? I know assertiveness in public speaking, very important. Also, you have the right to allow yourself to enjoy your successes. Don't allow anybody to, people are clapping for you. You can say, keep clapping, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Enjoy your success. That's an assertive person. Don't be shy and all that.
don't, because you can get to a place where you're just feeling as though, let me be modest. Some people are overly modest. Meanwhile, the audience is cheering you on, they're celebrating you. Don't say, don't clap for me, I'm not sure I deserve that. No, don't say that about yourself. No. Allow yourself to enjoy your success. Of course, that shouldn't tend towards pride and arrogance and all of that, but assertiveness. Okay, and then you have a right to ask for what you want. I mentioned this earlier on about water. I mean, if you need water, if you need something, if you need a cup of water, ask for what you want. I need this, I need that. Very important. You have a right to ask for what you want. Whatever you want, whatever it is that you want, ask for it. Request. I need this. Can I get 5 people for? I want to use 5 people for an example. Maybe you're addressing an audience. I need 3 people to explain a point you're about to make. You have a right to ask for what you want. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Assertion. Be assertive. And then also you have a right to recognize that I am not responsible for the behavior of other adults. You are called to speak in front of people to speak, and things are happening. You have a right to say, look, I don't care how anybody's acting. I know how I conduct myself. I don't have a right to regulate other people's behaviors. It's not my business how they act or how they think or how they respond or how they feel. I'm here to deliver my speech, and I know I'm doing justice to it. I'm not disrespecting anybody. I'm not stepping on any toes. I'm just doing what I should do. You have a right. And also you have a right to respect other people. I just mentioned this now. Respect people. Respect what they say, respect their perspective. Respect if they say this is how I don't agree with you. Respect their disagreement with you. Don't try to force people to agree with you on a particular point of action. Respect their perspective. Oh, they say this is how we do it. Respect. If somebody has invited you as a host to a program, this is how we do it. Respect that. You're right. That is assertiveness. All right. So rather than being assertive, some people can be other things that you should not be as a speaker. You are supposed to be assertive. So I just want us to look at 2 other kinds of behavior that some people assume, which is not something we want you to be in trying to be an effective public speaker. So the first one is being assertive. That's what we have just covered. Standing up for your rights without infringing on the rights of others. An assertive person says, I win, you win. But look at some of the others. A passive person. Some people are just passive. Those are the people that are overly shy, people that have a low self-esteem, people that give up their rights and they just differ. It's okay. As long as I just sit there. The audience are there. No, don't be passive. You want to play an active role in your life. You want to play an active role in your speech, in your delivery. There are certain times where after you're done speaking, you are going to be placed on the stage with other people to ask questions, a Q&A session. You need to be active. Don't be passive. A passive person says, I lose, you win. I lose, you win. No, you need to do what? You need to be assertive. A passive person is not just so. A passive person just says, I don't think, I can handle this. I don't think these people, no. Don't give up your rights. As long as you have an opinion, remember all the rules of assertion we looked at previously. Don't just give up your rights. Don't defy your right and say, look, I don't care what this person thinks. No, be assertive. You have a right. You have a voice. Let your voice be heard. That's a public speaker. Let your voice be heard. You are not opposing anybody. You are not crucifying anybody or condemning anybody. But say your point and be authentic. Be skillful about it. Then the other kind of behavior is that some people are aggressive. That is something we don't want you to be. Be assertive, but not aggressive. An aggressive person is the kind of person that always shouts. They want to win. They want every other person to lose. They stand up for their rights without regard for others. An assertive person ensures that we both win. But an aggressive person wants to ensure that I am the one that win. Every other person must lose. They're the kind of people that will shout and scream and yell. They just talk down on people. They condemn people. They criticize people. They talk down on their audience. That is an aggressive person. So you should not be aggressive. An aggressive person is not what we want you to be. We want you to be assertive. Be assertive in your delivery. Be assertive in your speech. Be assertive. Very important. And the next one. Okay, so look at this now. Verbal communication. So this is what all those 3 kinds of behavior, this is what it looks like on stage. Just focus on this aspect of the training, verbal communication. That has to do with your speech. Don't look at non-verbal, don't look at implication. And don't look at non-verbal. That has to do with your writing, because now we're looking at public speaking, which has to do with verbal communication. So look at a passive person is always apologetic. They always with, yeah, I'm sorry. They're always apologetic, and they have this soft, gentle, tentative voice. They don't want to offend anybody, so their voice is calm. On the other hand, an aggressive person, they're always saying you. They're always telling the audience, some of you are. No, that's a wrong approach. They always talk down on your audience, and they're always shouting and screaming as though are yelling. Don't be aggressive. Don't talk down on people. Or look at an assertive person. An assertive person, I statement. And they use collective, some of us are. Don't say some of you are. No, some of us are. They have an assertive. They are assertive. They make their point known. I believe this is the right course of action. I believe this is my opinion. And their voice is very firm. A firm voice is different from a loud voice. A firm voice is specific. A firm voice is authentic. A firm voice is direct. A firm voice is specific. So we want you to be assertive. Look at the implication that it has on people. Look at what a passive person says under implication to others. A passive person, they always say, my feelings are not important. I don't matter. I think I'm inferior. That's what they say. And then assertive is an assertive person. Of course, we are both important. They value people. We both matter. They believe that other people have something to contribute. I think we're equal. An assertive person is about equality. It doesn't see himself smarter or more intelligent than anybody. So in your speech, when you're delivering, don't sound as though you're intelligent, you know everything. Give room or give allowance. Sometimes your audience will have their opinions too. You have to be able to allow that. These are some of the intricacies of public speaking and some people don't know. That's why when we talk about public speaking as a soft skill, it's not just coming out to speak. There are certain elements that have to be there. Okay? An aggressive person thinks he's superior, thinks his feelings are more important, or people don't matter. He doesn't care about any other person. So what we have said here is the fact that we want you to be what? To be assertive. So remember, this session has been about what? Has been about confidence, positivity, and assertiveness. In the next session, we're going to look at audience analysis. But let's take a break right now and just get your feelers. So let me get your thoughts right now as we begin to get ready for the next session on audience analysis. Thank you. All right.